Storms are rolling into the region today, and that's why we're issuing a weather impact alert day. And that front could pack a punch. We're talking really heavy rainfall, high winds, maybe some small hail. But this is what I want to focus your attention on. See this pink color? That's freezing rain. Wind damage reports, flash flooding reports. The flooding reports just happened a few hours ago in Lock Haven. 2 feet of water reported. And luckily, there aren't too many people who live here, but for those of you who do, I want to make sure you're taking cover now. Within the lower levels of the atmosphere, it's called wind shear. When you have conflicting directions of wind in that lowest level, that can cause the twist necessary to spark up a tornado. Los principales riesgos de esta tormenta son fuertes ráfagas de viento. Hoy es la primera semana del mes de la herencia hispana. Just look at the massive width of this storm, diameter of over 1,000 miles. It's just a monster, and expected to intensify over these warm Gulf waters into a Category 4 hurricane, possibly, before making landfall with maximum sustained winds over 130 miles per hour. Possible tornadoes within the storm, possible storm surge up to 15 feet of water. Imagine, I'm 6 foot. Imagine 2.5 of me of storm surge. It's just going to be devastating for that Big Bend region of Florida. There were a lot of people out at Camelback Mountain enjoying the fire pits. I just want to sit here and warm up my hands. It won't maintain the same strength, of course, Chelsea. We're not going to see hurricane force winds here in Pennsylvania, but we will see that moisture transported up the eastern coast. And this is our weather shed, and we're able to give you your forecast by looking at the green screen here. Emailed us with photos of her front yard, wondering why so many of her leaves were turning yellow before we even turn the calendar page to September. Those clouds act as a blanket. When you don't have them, that heat escapes right out to space. The clouds are a perfect example of the greenhouse effect. Water vapor is a greenhouse gas, so it keeps us warm, traps in heat. Without those clouds, ends up getting cool, just like this. I want to give you a closer look at the eye, just 20 miles away from making landfall. You look at the center of the eye to determine exactly when a system makes landfall, and this is what's crazy about it, folks. It's going to continue to remain hurricane status across the entire peninsula from coast to coast. 3 to 6 feet of storm surge can cause damage in your house, but look at how much 12 feet can cause on the second level, possibly going over the roof of some houses there in Florida. This is going to be catastrophic for the peninsula, and that's what happens with highs. They cause sinking air. It compresses, and as air compresses, its pressure rises, so those molecules are closer together, causes more friction, and thus it gets warmer. That's why we're experiencing warmer temperatures than we did at the beginning of the week. High wind shear, vertical wind shear kind of tears apart the storm, as well as drier air is going to cause it to lose a lot of its strength. So that's at least good news down in the Gulf, and we might tap into some of that moisture. Of course, congratulations to all the grads and soon-to-be grads as well. We're all rooting for you. It is Eclipse Day. We've been preparing for this for years. If you pan upward, you can do this with your mobile device or your computer to see the sun being completely eclipsed by the moon. This is the larger picture. We have this high pressure in control. This is called a Rex block pattern. When we have a high pressure to the north of a low pressure system, kind of keeping this moisture at bay and causing it to become stagnant or stationary. Mountains help to enhance winds, and with the winds and the saturated ground, trees are doomed to come down. So just be careful. Make sure you're prepared for a power outage.
The Times Leader Best of the Best award winner for weather coverage in our area, Newswatch 16's Jeremy Lewan.
I am just so grateful to our viewers who took the time to vote for me. But this is just one model, the GFS model, indicating that moisture might come off the coast and up into the Commonwealth. The European model not showing that at all, so there's still uncertainty as far as next week. If you're in a very dark place, a rural area, maybe Sullivan County, central Pennsylvania, I'm talking to you, you might be able to see them, but otherwise they're going to be too dim. Look at how all of this moisture right now in the Midwest is just going up and over, is directed over us by this ridge of high pressure. It's keeping sinking air in place. Esas condiciones secas continuarán porque estaremos bajo un fuerte cresta de alta presión, manteniendo fuera las lluvias como un escudo. Of course, the anomalies that we're seeing in our oceans can be attributed somewhat to El Nino. We're having a strong El Nino this year, probably going to be an even warmer year than it was last year, and last year was the warmest year on record as we go into December for the holiday season. But this is a great view, isn't it? Current view of Wayne County. Good evening to you, Honesdale. You see those lights starting to turn on. Our high temperature today, 77 degrees. That's 9 degrees above the average. More details on what you can expect for your upcoming weekend coming up in just a little bit. 10 years ago, WNEP introduced the world to a legend right here.
Apparently, I've never been on live television before.
Still saying that again 10 years later.
Feels pretty good. I feel nostalgic about it.
And major hurricanes are Category 3, Category 4, and Category 5 with sustained winds over 111 miles per hour. And NOAA is predicting 4 to 7 of them this year, and on average we get about 3. And they are 85% confident that this is going to happen. So with the combination of La Nina as well as the above average sea surface temperatures, we're probably going to see a very active Atlantic hurricane season. And hurricanes can affect us here in Pennsylvania, so we're going to be keeping a very close eye throughout all of hurricane season coming up. I want to show you how Helene affects our weather forecast. It'll make landfall on Florida tomorrow evening, make this pass towards the north and west, but it shoots off this spoke of moisture into Pennsylvania late Friday night into early Saturday morning. What you see in the picture isn't exactly what you saw with the naked eye, and that doesn't mean that the northern lights weren't there. It just means that your phone is able to capture more light than your eyes can. The NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center issued a severe level 5 geomagnetic storm watch. This is the first time this has happened since 2003. Eso creará condiciones bastante buenas para ver la aurora boreal. Aunque todavía estamos bajo una alerta de tormenta geomagnética severa de nivel G4. Droplets freeze, cause this thing called rime to form. They all conglomerate and they create this crispy ball, almost like a tiny snowball, like Dippin' Dots that you can get from an amusement park. We will notice those winds, though, gusting up to 30 miles per hour at times throughout the afternoon, and they continue to gust through the overnight. So although it'll be 60 on the thermometer tomorrow at the warmest time of day, it'll feel like the 50s, and overnight it will feel like the 20s before sunrise. You heard earlier in this broadcast about the flooding that happened in Lock Haven. Well, that's definitely a possibility for tomorrow with those saturated grounds that we already have. This low temperature of 45 degrees on December 28th is 4 times more likely as a result of climate change. A watch means that we're watching the weather situation, that it's likely probably going to happen. We have the ingredients in place, and a warning means that it's already happening or definitely going to happen. And this is a general direction that it's flowing in, so it's going to be going towards the northeast. We have, once again, that early rotation indicated within the storm in Sullivan County, where we have a tornado warning in effect right now, and that's why we're on the air. Combination of high winds tomorrow, low humidity, dry fuel, and above average temperatures. We have a fire weather warning, also known as a red flag warning. There's a common misconception that black ice is actually black, but the reason it's called black ice is because it's so thin that it's clear and you can see the black road underneath it. You don't actually see the ice, and it causes very slick spots. And of course, Saturday is Armed Forces Day. We honor and salute all of our active military personnel. It's called the sturgeon moon because the giant sturgeon in the Great Lakes used to historically lay their eggs this time of year. And it was a supermoon, 6% bigger and 13% brighter than the average full moon. We'll see the development of fog, spontaneous clouds right there at the surface as a result of the high humidity, and then it develops and persists because of the low winds. If you're headed anywhere, maybe school, work, getting up in just a few hours, you'll be dealing with that reduced visibility. You'll want to slow down a little bit. And by the way, we've only seen a temperature at or above 77 degrees in the month of November here in Scranton since 1948, a total of 6 times. So this will make it 7 times. Very rare. And if you don't have a basement, then your hallway, your staircase, a closet, something interior away from outside windows. Normally when we see dew points anywhere less than 50, we call that pleasant air. Anywhere between 50 and 60, we call it comfortable. Above 60, we call it humid, sticky. But we've seen dew points below 40 the entire day, so it's felt nice and dry, nice and crisp. We got the sun back out, patches of blue skies, and the rain is always good for our backyard gardens. A great time to get out and harvest any vegetables you might have in your backyard. We got tomatoes, both the sun sugar and the Jersey tomatoes, Italian long hot peppers, as well as some bell peppers too. Just remember to water your garden. It hasn't rained since Saturday, so they're probably thirsty. You'll want to give them a drink. So the added humidity, of course, does not help, makes it feel a lot stickier, makes it hard for you to evaporate, to sweat. Evaporation is a cooling process. So when you have a lot of humidity in the air, it makes it harder for those droplets to get off your skin. And that's why you feel hotter. That's why the feels like temperature exists.
Yeah, look at this one that those students designed. They had a whole outfit planned for Jeremy. And this is getting a lot of attention online too.
With these beautiful pumpkins, Jim Reaper, of course, over here, clacking his teeth away, whether it's warm or cold. It really doesn't matter to Jim. He's cold no matter what because he doesn't have any skin. And to put the cold into perspective, I know it's cold out there, but it is not as cold as it has been in the past in Pennsylvania. If you look very closely, you can see this light pillar. This occurs when there are ice crystals in the air that are hexagonally shaped. This is the result of St. Patrick's Day. They've either been partying way too hard or they've been knocked over by the wind. It's up for you to decide. No rainfall as you're trick-or-treating or party going, but after the midnight hour, we could have that cold front roll through. If you have any outdoor plants, either on your front porch or in your backyard patio, you're going to want to bring those in because they could be susceptible to this frost. Now, of course, our entire atmosphere is warming as a result of climate change, but we're especially seeing it pronounced in our October nights. 4 degrees warmer on average than they were 50 years ago. Temperaturas máximas en los 70 para el miércoles y más cerca de los 80 para el jueves. Normally we don't see rain coming from the east, but that's what's happening today because of this positioning of this low pressure system off the coast of the mid-Atlantic states, funneling in some moisture with its counterclockwise spin directly into our region. Some of you won't see storms at all. Just have the umbrella handy and have a plan in place in case you see lightning or hear the thunder on the way to wherever you might be. Maybe that might be the Schuylkill County Fair or the Wayne County Fair. Maybe wear those not so great shoes in case it's muddy on the fairgrounds. Highs got up to 93 in Williamsport and 90 in Selinsgrove. That makes it 2 days in a row that we've had 90+ degree temperatures in those two cities. I think we'll do it a third day and that'll make it an official heat wave. And that blockage can reduce the flow of the river and then thus cause some flooding in some regions. Please use an ice chisel or an ice screw if you're an ice climber to be able to determine the thickness of the ice. I wanted to show you the tropics. Look at how it's lit up with activity, and this is normal. This time of year we start to see the peak in tropical activity. We are just 5 days away from the climatological peak, which is September 10th. At Avoca Airport, our streak has broken, but I'm going to say it's like an asterisk there because the streak was broken with a trace of rainfall. We picked up a trace of rainfall at Avoca Airport around 8 a.m. yesterday. A trace is less than 1/100th of an inch of rain, but more than zero. So, some drops fell. We saw the drops in our rain gauge, but we couldn't even measure it. That's what a trace is. Beautiful sunshine, fantastic weather, but remember to slather on the sunscreen. With the UV index of 7, burn time is only 30 minutes. That is a normal high temperature that we see for June the 20th. That's 13 degrees above the average. Normally we top out around 68 degrees. Well, we felt more like the first day of summer. This year, June 20th is the first day of summer. Now we're gonna go down the slide together, all right? So we can show everybody at home how much fun it is here, and hopefully you can still come out. Welcome back to Jeremy's Journeys, where today we're at the 51st Annual Conference on Broadcast Meteorology.
And try to be a role model for people like you.
Mom and I are at the Sunflower Festival. Brown Hill Farms is the largest producer of tulips in the entire state of Pennsylvania. You could board a tethered hot air balloon ride, of course in the shape of an alien, and that reduces the yield of the individual plant. These are cider apples.
Meteorologist Jeremy Lewan. Jeremy Lewan,
Newswatch 16, off the coast of Baja, California. Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Hollywood, California. Lackawanna County.
All right, Jeremy, Central Pennsylvania is going to see it first.
Central Pennsylvania is going to see it first and for the longest duration of time, and that's why we're going to see such high rainfall amounts there too. I'm expecting anywhere from 3 to maybe 5, if not more, inches of rainfall there in Lycoming, Clinton, Potter, Tioga counties. That's where we're going to see the brunt of the rainfall. But those of you in eastern Pennsylvania aren't getting off the hook easy either. Anywhere from 1 to 3 inches of rainfall, if not more, for those of us anywhere from Lycoming County east. So got a lot to talk about here in this forecast. Want to show you the current location of Tropical Depression Debbie, just going across the border, that center of circulation, just going across the border from North Carolina into Virginia, the heaviest rainfall to the north of that border. So already starting to nip at the edges of Pennsylvania, and by the time we get to 8 o'clock tomorrow in the morning, the center of circulation will be knocking on the doorstep of Pennsylvania, and we'll be seeing the heaviest rainfall in central Pennsylvania for the early morning hours Friday into the afternoon for eastern Pennsylvania by around 2 o'clock or so. Flood watch is in effect for all of our counties. We also have a wind advisory in effect for Carbon and Monroe counties as well, because we could see wind gusts over 46 miles per hour. I do think that that's possible across the entire viewing area, but more possible there, of course, in the higher elevations. Mountains help to enhance winds, and with the winds and the saturated ground, trees are doomed to come down. So just be careful. Make sure you're prepared for a power outage, because that is definite possibility with this storm. We have a weather impact alert day in effect all day Friday as a result of the heavy rains and high winds expected. You'll want to remain weather aware on our WNEP app. There is the possibility for an isolated brief tornado, and of course, if that does happen and there is a tornado warning issued, we will be on the air tomorrow live, either Kurt or both me and Kurt, if that does happen tomorrow afternoon. Here's current satellite and radar. Already seeing the outer bands of Debbie enter south central Pennsylvania. Some leading bands also entering the southern tier here for Pottsville, Carbon County, through Schuylkill County, Carbon County, and Monroe counties, all seeing some light to moderate downpours in advance of the heaviest rainfall. And that's really going to start after the midnight hour. Temperatures got up to the mid-70s today for Williamsport and Avoca, 77 for Selinsgrove. So a cooler day, about 7 degrees below the average high temperature for this date. And that's because of all the cloud cover we had today. Temperatures now down in the upper 60s, low 70s for the Susquehanna Valley. And we'll start to see those heavier downpours begin just after midnight for central Pennsylvania. The real crux of this storm enters central Pennsylvania between 4:30 and 6 o'clock. Look at these heavy downpours, reds, darker reds, indicating downpours that are flooding rains anywhere from 1 to 1.5 inches per hour. And because it lasts for several hours, we're going to see really big rainfall totals for those of you in central Pennsylvania. You see this wide swath of heavy rainfall. The storm kind of stretches out as it gets picked up by a cold front. So you'll notice this wide swath of heavy rain constricts into this narrow band of rain as it pushes across eastern Pennsylvania. And that's why we'll see somewhat lower totals in eastern Pennsylvania. It'll be less of a long duration event, but still heavy rainfall expected, maybe a few isolated tornadoes embedded within this line of thunderstorms that rolls through as Debbie gets stretched out in the afternoon. Clearing out for central Pennsylvania by 4 o'clock, so models having the storm roll in and out faster than ever before. That's good, so we clear out for the weekend, but still seeing some residual storms in eastern Pennsylvania by 8 o'clock, kicking the whole thing out by midnight. Clear skies for your whole Saturday, some isolated sprinkles maybe for our northern tier late afternoon Saturday. Sunday, similar story to Saturday. Lots of sunshine, maybe an isolated sprinkle, but we have to get through tomorrow, and there is a level 2 out of 5 threat of severe weather. Of course, the main concerns are flooding rains with rainfall totals over 5 inches possible and high winds that could cause some power outages and maybe even an embedded tornado or two. Here are some possible rainfall amounts. The highest, more west you go for Clinton and Lycoming counties, over 3 if not 4 inches of rain possible, but the rest of us a widespread 1 to 3 inches of rain. There's your 7-day. We have that weather impact alert day in effect for your Friday. Things look great, though, for the weekend for any outdoor activities and really remain nice through the week ahead as well, Scott. Just a few isolated chances for some rainfall Monday night and Tuesday night.
All right, Jeremy, great job. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll see you then.
Yep. Hey, good evening. I'm meteorologist Jeremy Lewan, and we had some hot weather today, feeling a lot more like mid-August versus the mid-September that we're in right now. Look at this high temperature. 89 degrees, just 1 degree below the record high temperature for this date set back in 1947. So we were feeling the heat today, and we're going to see those temperatures start to slope off as we head towards next week. We have another summer gem for tomorrow, temperatures in the 80s. It will be beautiful, but the clouds will roll in once we head towards Monday, and we could have a possible tropical system on the way. Right now we have clear skies across the whole state. Tomorrow morning we could wake up to some patchy fog, but this is the larger picture. We have this high pressure in control. This is called a Rex block pattern. When we have a high pressure to the north of a low pressure system, kind of keeping this moisture at bay and causing it to become stagnant or stationary. This is the remnants of Francine, and this is a possible new system off the Gulf of the Carolinas, and that would increase the risk of showers and storms as we head into Wednesday, Thursday, even Tuesday afternoon and evening. So here's the risk. We have this area of development possible off the coast of the Carolinas, a 40 to 50% chance over the next 2 to 7 days of turning into a named system. Now that means it's organized and intensified, and it develops into something that could be named. But whether or not it develops into something that is named, it will bring the rainfall and clouds towards us. So here's future clouds, your future cast, your weather impact future cast. Remaining clear overnight tonight, maybe just a patchy fog area or two in your valleys. By the time we get to the afternoon, some models indicating a spot sprinkle in our more southern counties. So that's York and Adams, Franklin County. You might see a spot sprinkle, but most of us remaining dry for your Sunday. Still remaining dry through Monday, but you notice the clouds start to increase from south to north. Those are the outer bands of whatever that system ends up becoming that's currently in the Carolinas. Heading into Tuesday, some increased cloud cover, and that's when we'll start to see the first of the showers. This is 9 a.m. Our southern counties, Franklin, York, Adams County, Lancaster County, all seeing these showers Tuesday morning. Then seeing more widespread rainfall through your Wednesday, and it'll be scattered through Thursday and Friday, kind of lingering with us through late week next week. Want to also talk to you about the full harvest moon. This moon is the full moon of September. It appears 87% full tonight, and I'm telling you about it tonight because we're likely not going to be able to see it when it is actually full, which is on Tuesday at 10:34 p.m. because of all the clouds expected from that tropical system. Moonrise was tonight at 5:39, so you can get out and enjoy it, and it will be a supermoon, meaning it appears 7% bigger and 15% brighter in our skies. And it also includes a partial eclipse where the umbra of the Earth's shadow covers up 8% of this harvest moon. You probably won't be able to see it because of the clouds, so enjoy the moon as it becomes full closer to tomorrow afternoon and evening, and also on your day on Monday before those clouds come in. So here's your 7-day. We have great day tomorrow. Temperatures once again in the mid to upper 80s. Temperatures in the 70s for next week as that tropical system rolls through, and some models projecting that we'll see it exit by the time we get to Saturday. I hope you have a great rest of your night.